This next storyteller is Colleen Squire. She's a hoot. She says she can't remember a time when she wasn't telling the story, and she's pretty good at it, too. I think you'll like this one.
Thanks, Pat. Okay. You know that time after college when you've got friends in your first apartment and you have somebody over for dinner, one of your other friends who doesn't have any money either, and after dinner you sit around and you're maybe listening to music and drinking some wine and maybe drinking a little more wine. And that's what we did quite often after college. Looking through magazines, our favorite was Sunset, because Sunset had craft ideas. Of course, we always wanted to craft. It had travel ideas, things you can see, places you can go, and it had recipes, things, exotic things to try. Well, Mary was leafing through Sunset magazine, and she came across a recipe. Actually, she came across a whole article, and it was titled something like Easy Asian-Inspired Appetizers. And so she was reading it to us. Asian was very exotic at that time, you know. And she said, oh, this is good. Listen to this one. And she read us this recipe. Okay, you make a filling of it was some kind of meat like sausage and very finely chopped with some vegetables and some seasonings and stuff. And then you put it inside a wonton skin and you fold it over and seal it in the traditional way and bring the little corners together. Sort of looks like a pirate's hat. I think you're familiar with that. Then you deep fry it and you serve it with sweet and sour sauce. Well, I got to tell you that in my group of friends, anything deep fried or served with sweet and sour sauce had our immediate attention. I think if we had deep fried shoe leather and served it with sweet and sour sauce, we would have been excited, okay? Well, as Valerie and I sat there, and Mary too at that point, we were contemplating that delicacy. Oh, that deep fried wonton. Oh, and the sweet, oh my goodness. And then Mary asked the question that was so logical at the time. She said, what is a wonton and how do I get its skin? Well, we kind of looked at each other because we didn't have an answer. Now, we didn't have Google. You know, we couldn't go to Google and look it up, but so we went into research mode. And now, Valerie and I both had graduated in home economics, and so we knew everything except the answer to Mary's question. And so when we gathered again the next time, we said, Mary, we have the answer. She says, wonderful. Well, here's the deal. Wontons are little creatures of the gerbil family that are native to the mountainous region, the foothills in northern China. She nods her head. It's okay. Now, wontons, being members of the gerbil family, they hibernate and they're nocturnal, but they're also hairless, which is a challenge when you are in the mountainous regions of northern China in the winter. And so they've adapted, ecologically, they have adapted with new kinds of skin. What they have is multiple layers, very, very thin, multiple layers of skin separated by microscopic air pockets, just like that expensive stuff we buy at REI, you know? But they've developed this naturally, and so there's even some folklore out there that says you can tell how cold the winter is going to be by the number of layers of skin on the wontons. Mary's nodding her head, okay. I said, and then in the winter they hibernate, and then in the summer they wake up, and they come out, and they start gathering their seeds and berries and things. And Mary says, okay, but how do I get their skins? Well, Mary, here's the way it works. You see, as they come out of hibernation, they come out into the brush around their little caves, and they come out, of course, at night, and they scurry along, and they snag these layers of skin that they're shedding one at a time as they're coming out of hibernation and it's warming up. You know, they don't need all that skin anymore. So a layer at a time, and then the villagers come up first thing in the morning because you can't let them dry out. They're very delicate. And they gather these skins and they put them in their baskets, and they take them back down to the village and process them, package them, and get them ready to send off to the international markets. Okay, well, that makes perfect sense. Absolutely. Now, you have to realize that this was in the early 70s, and so our international palates were not as experienced, and so we never saw things like wonton skins in the market. Exotic was chunking in a can, you know? So her not understanding about wonton skins is completely logical, and our understanding about wonton skins was very limited. So she says, well, how do you get these? Well, you go to the market, the Asian market downtown, Wajimayas. They probably have them at Wajimayas. Okay. Well, as the international food market started picking up, more and more people wanted to try these recipes. They wanted to try things like deep-fried wonton skins served with sweet and sour sauce. And so people decided they needed to have a more reliable way to get their wonton skins, and it made sense at the time, that they would have their own domesticated wontons. If I have my own community of wontons, then I will have, full use of their skins, and I will have a permanent supply. But there's a problem with this. Remember, wontons are nocturnal? Okay, so they sleep during the day. Wontons also develop the most layers of skin when they are the coldest, which means you needed to keep your wontons in the refrigerator or possibly even the freezer. Now, the ASPCA has they don't believe in keeping your pets in the freezer. So this presented a problem. And if you kept them in the refrigerator, each time you opened that refrigerator door and the light came on, you would wake up a wonton. And you don't want to wake up a wonton. They scream, this hideous scream. Needless to say, they were not good pets. And so the whole idea of domesticating the wontons and having your own source was short-lived. Now, what happened to those wontons, I really don't know. I suppose they just turned them loose in the suburbs, born free. But as time went on, there was still this challenge of we need a reliable source of wonton skins. Enter Colorado. They determined that there's an area in Colorado near the ski areas that has about the same climate as northern China foothills in the northern mountains. And they decided that they could farm raise wontons. So they developed these big greenhouses, greenhouses with raised beds so the wontons could burrow underground for the winter, and they planted their favorite bushes all around so they could come out and they could nibble on their little treasures, what they liked best, and they fed them well, and it worked out beautifully on several fronts. Wontons hibernate in the winter, remember? The ski areas are very busy in the winter. So when the ski season ends, there's all these people that need work. That's when the wontons need tending. So the skiers loved it. The ski patrol people, the operators and all this, they would work the ski areas in the winter, and then they would come down to the greenhouses and they would work the wonton factory. The habitat. The wontons were very, very happy. How do you know wontons are happy? They reproduced like crazy, like wontons. And they've built more and more greenhouses. It's been an absolutely fantastic adventure and very, very green, very ecologically responsible because of the labor force and all this. It has worked out beautifully. So I want you, next time you're in the store and you have a craving for wontons, go into the produce section, where they keep those things, and you pick up the package and carefully look at the back. Make sure it says genuine Colorado farm-raised wonton skins, except no substitute. Now, ladies and gentlemen, each spring the Story people of Clallam County have a liars contest. And it's been going on for, I think, about 5 years, something like that. That story is the one that won first place this year. So if you want more lies, trust me. You will hear some wonderful, wonderful stories. Watch the publications that come out, all the publicity, because it is great fun and a place to hear some fantastic stories. Thank you. Hope to see everybody at the festival.
Isn't she a hoot? Yeah. And you know what? I think her friends believed her. I don't know. If you liked our stories, we're nothing compared to the international storytellers that will be here this weekend. Please join us for one of the concerts. The Sunday morning concert is free. There's some for $10, $15. It's just wonderful. Join us. Thanks for coming.